Welcome to selfdiscoverywisdom.com, formerly known as Self-Discovery Media. On these podcasts, you're going to hear people who speak from the heart. They've taken the journey in life. Many things have happened to them, but they've changed it to happening for them. And in their strength, their courage, they've discovered their abilities and their wisdom, and they are now sharing it here with you. Do enjoy each show. We bring it to you with love and knowing that it's going to help you on your journey of life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Mental Health Awareness right here in selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my wonderful repeat guest, although she's now married and under a different name, is Jenny Garufi. Garufi, and she used to go by the name of Jenny Mannion. And I invite you to go back and listen to a show that we did some years ago, actually, about a short path to change, where we talked about how to embrace change and all the health challenges and everything else that we also go through. So please do listen to that as well. But today we're going to be talking about a wonderful technique, mindfulness exercise in the shower, which offers 21 days of practice to help harness the mind's power for peace and life transformation. And I think we all need that little transformation into the right direction. And water is such an incredible conduit. So it's a wonderful thing to do something in the shower, because it really does expand like a speaker, expands it all out. So her book, Mindfulness Exercise in the Shower, to begin or deepen your mindfulness practice within the magical element of water. That's what we're going to be talking about. And she said, I've used mindfulness to heal myself of physical disease, manifest the love of my life, a book deal, and so much more. My books, Mindfulness Exercise in the Shower, are 21 days of mindful exercise to help the reader harness the power of their mind and peace and create their life they want. It takes a few minutes a day, utilizes the powerful healing element of water, and is tapping into time you already have where you are alone to focus on your energy. Jenny's spiritual journey began with healing experience that dissolved 7 years of illness in just a few weeks, sparkling a profound life purpose. In the last 20 years, she's been dedicated to gathering tools. She's an international acclaimed author, speaker, teacher, and healer. Jenny empowers individuals with accessible tools, fostering self-love, self-worth, while dismantling obstacles to attract aligned relationships and life circumstances. And her latest book in the series of mindful exercise in the shower offers the 21 days to mindful practice. So, yep. We were in the shower having a wash anyway. So why not make it purposeful? Welcome back, Jenny.
Thank you so much for having me, Sarah. I'm so grateful to be able to speak with you.
I tap in the shower, not always, but,
That's awesome.
and tapping is another a wonderful, hitting those meridians, those energetic meridians.
Yeah.
I find that it just, as I said, the word I'm trying to project out, it's more than that. When a speaker goes out, I haven't got the word, it will come to me later, but it magnifies. There we go.
Yeah.
Magnifies, and water has such a wonderful feeling of calming us. So why not do a particular mindful, heartful, soulful exercise while you're in the water? Because the water is your companion, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's cleansing you anyway physically, so why
Mm.
not let it cleanse your mind and your emotions as well?
Yeah, exactly. And I think, even more today, we need those emotions cleansed because we're so bombarded
Yeah.
with boom, 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 politics, another earthquake, another tornado, another war,
Yes.
another this. And it's like, however much you want to switch off from that, we can't escape it. And
Yeah.
we do absorb it. Our biggest organ is our skin. We absorb those vibrations. And if we don't release it, it really does come to bite us in the butt at some point.
Sure does. It'll manifest somehow, either with stress or with disease, or anxiety. Absolutely.
Depression,
Yeah.
anger,
Yeah.
disillusionment, all of those emotions, whatever it is, will show itself. And so we need to kind of step ahead of it
Yes.
We can't change what's going on out there. We can actually, each and every one of us rise up to a higher frequency of
Yep.
love, compassion, caring. We are the solution the world needs. But
Hmm.
on our way to getting there, we can't go in and stop that war when two people want to blind themselves, an eye for an eye.
Right.
We can't go and do that. But what we can do is be the peace we seek, right? And that's where we need to take ownership and responsibility. What can I do to be calm and peaceful and productive in my own life?
Absolutely. And that ripples out. That ripples out to our family. That also puts us in that state of the present moment so we can decide, okay, maybe I will take this action to sign this petition or do this or do something from a place of peace and love rather
Mm.
than fear.
Mm. Well, let's face it, all of these things out there brings up fear in everybody.
Right.
Weather changes is happening everywhere. I've just seen a video of how they've shown that parts of Africa is going to break off and join
Wow.
India, and then we're going to go into they're going to go into a little bit of an ice age there, and it's like part of this is the natural evolution of the
Hmm.
world, but also part of it is, we've put that foot to the pedal on it.
Yeah.
And, uh, the reversal of it should have happened a long time ago, but now I think it's preparing for it. And as I said, we're so bombarded with everything. It's how do we take that deep breath and go, what can I control that's in
Right.
front of me?
Yeah, absolutely. And mindfulness in the shower. I mean, most of us shower in the morning. It's a good time to do it, to
Mm,
just be like, this is my time. Even a busy mom usually gets them few minutes in the shower, to
mm,
just take those few minutes to even like really tap in. Because I know before I started doing mindfulness exercises in the shower, I was like, going through my to-do list
mm,
or, worrying about something or really like projecting out or going in the past. I wasn't present. I wasn't fully
mm.
appreciating. And water is a healing element.
Yeah.
So why not use that as, as a catalyst too to deepen these exercises?
Hmm. And some people say, well, I'm an evening shower. That's fine. Then decompress for the
Yeah,
day.
absolutely.
Go to bed with a peaceful mind. You'll rest
Yeah,
better and you'll be more prepared for the next day. So it doesn't matter when you shower,
right,
right?
right.
I know with my daughter, she comes over and for some reason the whole family loves my shower. And it's like, Mom, I'm going to go take a shower. And then she's gone for 15 minutes, and for her, that shower is her decompression, right? And it doesn't matter when, it's just
Doesn't
please
matter
do,
when.
though. Please just do.
Yeah, yeah. And the morning and evening are even more powerful times because
Yeah.
our brain's kind of in that, either really
Switch on
awake.
or switch off.
Yeah, switch off. Yeah, exactly.
Do you have the same effect in a bath? Because I know some people, no, I don't like showers. I like to, soak in a
Yeah.
bathtub, but it's really about the water, isn't it?
It's really about the water. I mean, I have specific exercises that are, under the water shower, but you
Mm,
could put your hands under the water tap.
mm,
You could put your
mm,
hands in the water. There are all different ways to do it. It's
mm,
really just about being with the water and recognizing you're present in this healing element. It's even a more powerful time to get in touch with just you,
mm,
tapping in. How am I feeling? I love that you tap in the shower. That's a powerful way to just accelerate that healing and that
mm.
feeling of peace.
Yeah, I kind of physically say I'm washing away all my problems, all my
Yes.
worries, all my anxiety. They're going down the drain, and and there is something about it, just like standing underneath that, a good rain shower type thing there, where you just feel, ah, it's just washing
Absolutely.
everything out. And of course, if you go to your doctor, it's immediately medication.
Yeah.
But when we understand that there are modalities, whichever one works for you, but try them until you find that one that works for
Yeah.
you, that you can incorporate into your daily life.
Absolutely. There are so many modalities and there are ones for everyone.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, look at it like playing, look at it like, okay, I'm just going to find what works for me. And I know with me, like mindfulness is a steady one, but other ones come in and out of my life. That's okay.
Yes.
Like the
Yes.
bigger toolbox we have, the more tools we can pull out of it whenever we need them.
Yeah, I mean, some people may not shower every day. I'm one of them. I have
Yeah,
dry skin, so I don't. But you still take kind of that same type of practice and just
yeah,
adjust it to something else. And the big thing
absolutely.
you said is mindfulness. Our soul and our heart and our spirit is trying to talk to us all the time. But if our mind is full of chatter, we can't hear them.
Yeah.
So it is that mindfulness to be center, to be present so that
Yeah.
the soul and the heart and the spirit has a way to communicate.
Absolutely. And in this day and age, there's so many distractions too.
Mm,
So you have the mind, but plus you have your phone and
mm,
your computer and the news and everything else that wants to get in the way, almost is pushing its way in to your mind.
yeah.
So only you can give yourself permission to turn that stuff off. Yeah, in my book, a lot of the exercises can be done out of the shower too. It's really about getting people used to that, like
Hmm.
daily routine, so that during the day they're like, oh, maybe I can use that gratitude exercise again, and escape into a stall in my office or
Yeah.
a bathroom or whatever it is. We can do this at any time. It's recognizing that it doesn't take long, it doesn't
Right.
take hours of meditation. It's really the more times you can call yourself back to the present moment, just check in and do gratitude exercise, do some tapping, do an exercise that really resonates with you and brings you peace. Do some breathing. It
Mm,
really is so powerful, and you're taking back your power.
yeah. And that's the point that you said. So much is going in through the
Yeah.
eyes, through the ears. But what we haven't found is the door that opens up that lets it out, right? And basically, what you're presenting is that door to open up.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm overloaded, I'm saturated, whether it's 5 minutes in the bathroom stall or whether I have time to have a nice 15-minute shower, whatever it is, I need to open that door and
Yeah.
let it out. Because if I don't, I'm going to be consumed.
Yes, absolutely. Perfect way of putting it.
We see today really a whole entire society stressed out. And that's, it was before the pandemic it was like that, but people weren't talking about it so much. Since the
Mhm.
pandemic, it's become heightened and people have become more and more of their, aware of their stress. And we're seeing more and more angst going on where people are committing crimes like youngsters stabbing each other, shooting just because they're feeling numb or they don't know how to express their feelings or they don't know what they're feeling. And, they're just doing things that normally you would look at and think that child would never be capable of. And I think that is because we're not teaching our children how to manage stress right from the
Yes.
word go. And I am doing a very shameless plug here because this year we did a book called Our Forgotten Children, which is an anthology on the system that's wrong around raising our children and what we need to do right. And one of them in there is teaching them yoga, teaching them how to decompress, teaching them how to breathe, how to meditate, how to incorporate those things in their life from a very early age. And
Yeah.
it's all very well mum and dad going into the shower and decompressing, but now you've got kids that are running around that
Yeah.
don't know how to do that. So how do we teach them?
Yeah, I mean, I think when the parents are more aware of that stuff, it's easier, to trickle
Mm,
down. You can teach them those. I saw the cutest video yesterday, actually, of like Snoop, Snoop Dogg. Like you can say, Alexa, tell me Snoop Dogg positive affirmations. And it's him
yes,
like
yeah.
saying, like, I am powerful,
Yeah.
like, I
That was
am.
Buble. Was that Buble talking about his daughter? Yes, yes, yes. He was obsessed with Snoop Dogg. She's 6 years old. Yeah. But yeah,
So, but I love that. I mean, because if the parents are aware
yeah.
and mindful, then they pass that down to their kids. They know how important it is from a young age to inspire them to know those affirmations were perfect that he said, like, I am powerful, I am in control of my thoughts, whatever it is that you need to affirm those things to yourself
Yeah.
from an early age, because you're going to have kids that are mean and saying,
Mm,
nasty things to you. You need to be in that confidence. how many people's self-worth was diminished from, people saying mean things to them.
Yes, yes. Oh gosh, I mean, I don't how many people I've interviewed through the years, 12 and a half years of, I was bullied. And,
Yeah.
that bullying changed, it retreated me or it made me this or it made me that. And nobody understood, at home what bullying was. I was told to suck it up or give it
Yeah.
back. And it's like, no, don't suck
Yeah.
it up and don't give it back. It's how to release it and not take it on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
We don't have to do that as adults. So, how can we be that example for our children? And, um, I had a conversation with someone yesterday. I'm in Canada, she's in America, but we got onto the subject of politics because obviously it's so in our faces at the present moment,
Yeah.
and she's on total opposite sides. And I said, I need to understand why.
Hmm.
And at the end of the conversation, I knew more things from me watching it from the outside in than she was aware of. Right.
Hmm.
And this is we must not be afraid to have conversations of opposement.
Absolutely.
And this is not personal. This is perspection, perception.
Hmm.
And we're just sharing what we're seeing. Share what you're seeing. Can we broaden the picture? But
Hmm.
instead, we've got this society that pushes all these buttons of, well, and
Yeah.
immediately we've got
Dividing
this
us.
ants, and
Yeah.
it leads to violence. It leads to insults, whether it's a violent mouth or a violent action. And
Hmm.
we've got so many people out there that are kind of feeling wounded from it. So having techniques to release that, let it go, don't take it personally. Don
No
Rue's
fa
four
no
agreements,
one
right?
no one convinces anyone of anything on Facebook. No writing mean comments on Facebook and trying to convince someone of your opinion.
Right.
Really just, yeah, I mean, I mean, in the United States right now, we're almost 50%
Yes,
divided,
I know.
So yeah, I mean, obviously people are seeing things differently,
Yeah.
and when you have that division, the truth usually somewhere in the middle, so really understanding it's okay. It is hard,
Yeah.
to understand when you believe something so strongly in your heart, but to be open and to really
Yeah.
hear
Yeah.
the other person's perspective
Mhm.
is, I mean, that's showing them love and respect.
Yeah, and also understanding how did they get to that point of view? Is there
Yeah.
something you're missing? And then sharing your point of view is maybe something they've overlooked. And the
Yeah.
more and more we're willing to talk to each other and allow those differences to be shared,
Mhm.
there's that bigger picture from where you could draw from.
Yeah,
And I think is
absolutely.
we've
Yeah.
somehow got afraid of knowledge, factual
Yeah.
knowledge, not sensational knowledge, factual knowledge. Well, so and so said it, so therefore it must be true. Well,
Mhm.
AI can make somebody say something and it can be true, and there's some wonderful aspects to AI, but in the wrong
Right.
hands, as with anything. Social
Yeah.
media is a wonderful way of connecting and sharing if you're in the positive algorithm, but if you're in the negative algorithm, it can be very damning and very
Hmm.
damaging. And again, that comes down to us as human beings and our accountability of what is our intention and where
Yeah,
does that intention come from?
absolutely. Yeah, we need to like stand in that like love to
Mm,
which is, when we're triggered,
mm,
that can be a little challenging, but again, using those tools to ground yourself and
yes.
really get to the current moment again, because we know when we're triggered, it's bringing up the past stuff too.
Yeah. Mm,
So really like centering in the present moment, being like, I always, tell my clients, like, how do I come, if they're having a difficult conversation, like, how do I come to this conversation with love? Because if you come to it accusing, pointing
mm,
fingers, the shields go up, nothing's being heard
no,
anyway.
no,
No one's going to get anywhere. So
no.
yeah, really, how can I speak to this person where they'll hear me, where if they were speaking to me, I would be able to receive it.
Right. And as you said, that is coming back to center. Now,
Yeah.
how do you do that? No, you can't take a shower in the middle of the
Yeah.
conversation. All right. But what you can do is the tools that you've used
Yeah.
in the shower, how can you use
Yeah.
them in that moment? Well, number one, take a breath.
Yeah.
Take a breath. All right.
Yeah.
The Don Rue's four agreements. Do not take
I
it
love
personally.
those. Yeah.
Right. Speak your word from integrity.
Yeah.
Do not assume. Ask. How
Yeah.
did they get to that point of opinion? And do your best based on from your very core truth. Did I do my best today? Right?
Hmm.
And it's you're the only one that measures that, nobody else. Right? And I think those four codes of conduct, so to speak. But
Hmm.
your number one, don't take it personally if somebody disagrees
Hmm.
with you. Right. I think this is where we've got our knickers in a twist, is like, you disagree with me, fist fights, and it's like, let's take a breath. Why do I disagree with you? Why don't we inquire more?
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. It's so important to have those conversations. And I think we're all so on edge right
Mm,
now that it just adds to that. I think we're feeling it collectively
yeah.
too. Even more of a reason to just learn whatever techniques and
Yes.
modalities resonate with you, but have
Mm,
some tools in your toolbox because I feel like not only now do we need them, we're gonna need them moving forward.
exactly. I
Yeah.
think this has to be a new way of life in our
Yeah.
lives. We have to take some time out. But, before we started the call, um, I was saying I was doing 8, 9 shows a week, and I was working 8 days a week. Yeah, that's how it felt. I had no other life around it. And then I moved closer to my daughter, so I only worked 3 days a week at this, and then 2 days with my looking after my grandsons, and then the weekend we do things together, or that's my free
Oh,
time.
that's so
My life has
nice.
become more balanced,
Yeah.
right? And I think that we very often pile stuff on us,
Hmm.
thinking, well, especially women, come on, especially,
Yeah,
it's like,
absolutely. Yeah.
well, I'm a woman, I can multitask, I can do this. Like, kind of reminds me of, you won't remember this movie. Oh gosh, what was it called? It was Sally Field, and it was about the unions, and they worked in a
Oh.
manufactory where
Hmm.
people were losing their hearing because there was no protection over their ears, and she was fighting for the union, and her husband says, well, you don't look after the kids, you don't cook, you don't have sex anymore. And she said, well, I'm ironing and I'm cooking, and you can lift up my skirt. And it's like, just because we can doesn't mean we should. And
Yeah.
if we don't, my son got married, and in his fiance, or now wife's vow, she said, and I will take care of me so I can take care of you.
Oh, I love that.
And the
I
thing in my
love that.
generation, what do you mean take care of
No,
you? That's just
yeah.
selfish.
Yeah.
And no, if we can't take care of ourselves, how are we good for anyone else?
Absolutely. The best compliment I ever got was from my youngest kid was a Mother's Day card, like, thank you for teaching me the importance of self-care. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, oh,
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Oh, something worked. Yes. And I cannot be thanked for that, because I didn't do the self-care. And consequently, out of the disease of mind became the disease of body. And it's so much harder when you're in a disease to come out
Oh,
of
it
it
is.
than it is to prevent getting
Yes,
into
it
a
is.
disease.
Yes, it is. Yeah, and it doesn't, again, it doesn't take that long. You don't have to
Mm,
meditate for hours a day.
right.
It's just those moments during the day. Set your watch if you need to,
Yeah.
set your phone if you need to like just 3, 4 times a day, check in. How am I? What am I
Yeah.
doing? Am I stressed? Am I breathing? I know
Yes.
I'm guilty of this too. I'll hold my breath
Yes. Yes.
almost. So check in with yourself. What have you been thinking? Where has your
Mm,
mind been for the last 10
mm,
minutes? And just really show yourself some compassion. And what can you do in that moment to make yourself feel a little better and comfort yourself? We know as moms, that if
mm.
our kid was suffering or if a loved one was feeling badly, we'd be there for them.
Yeah.
So, how do we start showing up for ourselves consistently? Not just when we're sick, but
Right. Or
before we're
stressed,
sick. Yeah.
stress prevention.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is, I've learned that, because one of the things that with my disease, depression raises its head, and sometimes it can be very ugly. And I haven't had an ugly one for a long time, because I've learned to pay attention to the warnings and what do I need. And like this week, I had 2 people had to cancel on me due to somebody had a death in the family, somebody else had something else on, and I could rush around and fill those spots.
Yeah.
Instead, I'm going to do something I need to do. And there was some things I had to do. But the other things I do is watch music, watch a song, from
Hmm.
America's Got Talent or The Voice or this and that, listening
Yes,
to the song.
I do that too.
Right? Yeah, because music has absolutely scientifically been proven
Yep.
to recalibrate you and to calm you, right? And
Hmm.
but also watching animal rescue things and what people and
Mm,
other animals would do to go to the extent of rescuing
hmm.
someone in distress. And it always gives that hopefulness that that is in each and every one of us. Why are we not
Yeah.
bringing it to the forefront? And it's, what is it that you can do when you go, "Oh, I'm just getting a little angst, take a step back,
Yeah.
right? I can take this 5 minutes, right?
Yes.
And just the other thing is, do not book appointments back to back to back to back to back through the
Yeah.
day. Allow yourself a breathing time in between each one. Otherwise,
Hmm.
you're going to forget what the hell you talked about to number four and on
That's
number
true.
eight.
Yeah. Yeah. And catch yourself before you're down the rabbit hole. Like catch
Yes.
yourself as, like, I love that you saw the warning signs and now
Mm,
you can see them coming on. That's so powerful. Yeah, it's funny to like look through, when you start this journey,
yeah.
you look back and you're like, whoa, 10 years ago, I would have been like
Yeah.
in bed for 3 days
Yeah.
if that happened, but now I have my tools and
Mhm.
I can, it's a learning process and we get better and better at it.
And that's the point. The more you use it, the easier it is, right? That's the point. In your previous book, the short path to change,
Mhm.
that is that willingness to want to change. That is
Yes.
that willingness to look for a path that is going down a different direction.
Yeah.
It's 30 ways to transform your life, and it's that's the point, isn't it? Is that have you ever read the book Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson?
No,
Oh, okay, now
I
this
got to
is
write that down.
no.
What is that?
Who Moved My Cheese by
Oh my God,
Spencer
I'm
Johnson,
writing
MD, and
that.
it's about two mice and two men around abundance of trees. And one day the
Oh,
cheese is gone. So the two mice, Sniffy and
oh,
Scurry, go, okay, it's gone. Sniffy and scurry around for more cheese. Hem and Ha, I got Ha is like, what do I do? There's no cheese. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. Is there somebody I speak to? Is the cheese coming back? And eventually realizes I'm hungry. I've got to go and follow Sniffy and Scurry and look for it. And
mhm.
but then you've got Hem, give me back my cheese. Who do I kill? Who do I sue? And I'm
Mm,
a true colors coach. And those are four key personality traits that we all have. And it's like, which one is the most prevalent in us? And when we know that,
mhm.
when we know what our personality traits are, we know which one we're engaging on, receiving on, projecting on, right? And it's a wonderful book that this guy wrote for people in business to understand change, and that change
Wow.
is inevitable, but what can
Mhm.
we do to embrace it? And
Yeah.
that's kind of what you've written in your first book, because if we're not willing to change our practices, we're going to get left behind.
Yes. Yeah. And so many, you have to feel worthy of the change
Yeah.
too. You have to feel like, yeah, my life can get better because we are being bombarded with fear,
Mm,
so really like owning that, yeah, I can get out of this abusive relationship. Yes, I can, you know, I do deserve a better job and career, like really owning those things and not becoming like a victim to your own self-talk and
mm,
repeating the messages that you might have been repeating for decades, but you can
yes.
change them now. You can choose to change them and have a more powerful dialogue with yourself, which will change your energy, which will change your life. But it is really making that choice.
Everything is choice. And I say, when you're aware, you care,
I love
right?
that too. Yeah.
Because when
Yeah.
you're aware, look, I've been repeating the same pattern, expecting a different result.
Right.
I care too much for me to keep going down that rabbit hole just because I was unaware that I was doing it. Now I'm aware, I care for myself. I can make the choice to change.
Yeah. That's perfect. Yeah. And you could do that in every single aspect of your life.
Yeah.
It's so empowering. And, sometimes people come to me and they feel very stuck. And then choose one aspect of your life, to begin with. You don't have to look at, all of them at the same time, but choose one thing to really start today. Just start saying those positive
Mm,
affirmations and being mindful, being grateful. I always recommend gratitude. In the first, I think,
mm.
10 exercises in my book are gratitude, or 8, I think, because gratitude changes everything.
Yes.
Because so many times we are focused on what's not right and where I'm not in my life and, what went wrong, what that person said, we're focused on that. But when we switch to gratitude, that's magic too. So
Mm,
even if you just start a gratitude practice, like things can change pretty quickly.
yes. 100%. I interviewed many years ago a young girl who was 10 at the time who'd written a book, 365 Days of Gratitude with a Positive Attitude. And it was just like each page, I'm very grateful for this today, or I'm very grateful for that. And it was such a reminder to adults. We're so
Yeah.
busy focused on the problem or the
Yep.
angst of the day, we've forgotten to look what to be grateful for. And if we can focus on the gratitude, we will see that there's so much more to be grateful for than there is to be worried about.
Yeah, we're just not taught that.
No.
If you do, I don't know many people that do tune into the news now, but if you do tune into the news, the first
Depressing.
story, the first story will be negative.
Yes.
We're just programmed. Like you said, why aren't they putting on dog rescue videos?
Yeah.
Why aren't they putting on the good stuff? Like,
Mm.
it helps if we're in fear, we're on like anxiety medication or whatever, and it's sensationalized, but
Yes.
get to choose like what we're taking in. That is the first thing too. I will tell clients like, no, limit your news intake,
Mm.
limit, you don't have to sit in front of a television for an hour watching a news program. You can get
No.
it in little bites and headlines. Like if you go, that helps you go down the rabbit hole and feel really
Mm.
disempowered. So like noticing the triggers too during your day. Oh, I just watched that hour news program and now I don't, now I'm going to eat a quart of ice cream.
Yeah.
What,
Yeah.
what are the triggers for you?
Yeah.
Noticing those too. And just how can you switch it up? Only,
Mm.
it's everyone is so different. So it
Yes.
really is up to each person to to acknowledge first what is triggering them, to
Yeah.
take those little steps.
And that I feel that some people go too far the other way then, whereas like I'm not la la la, I'm not going to hear anything.
Right.
And then, but they still come out with the judgment and the explanations, but how you're not getting any information because you've switched it
Right.
off. Look for different ways that you can be
Absolutely.
current.
Yeah.
I mean, like for me, I watched The Daily Show or Colbert
Oh,
or
that's
Rachel
what we did
Meadows,
too.
and
That's
I
funny.
mean, I absolutely love Trevor Noah, but John Stewart is also marvelous, and it's like,
Yep.
they're pointing things out that in any realm, anywhere would be utterly ridiculous, and they're making fun of it in a way where you're getting that information, which could be exasperating. What? But
I
because they're
know.
making you laugh at
Yeah.
it, it's an easy. But I still do believe that because I've got kids that will not watch news. Well, how do you know what's going on in the world?
Hmm.
Now, I know that a couple of them do it their way, on the phone, following
Right.
various things and reading on
Hmm.
things. And I have a
Hmm.
son-in-law that will always go research something, uh, or podcasting, or they listen to podcasts,
Podcasting is a,
right?
yeah.
So, because in podcasting, you're getting more, as long as you're not going to the sensational stations, you're going to
Yeah.
stations where people are sharing, their truth,
Right.
or their facts, things that they've researched. You can go more in depth than you can on any of the public mediums
Yeah.
because they are restricted to what they can say and how long you can be on or anything
Yep.
else, right? Or who's paying for the show. So I think that podcasting has really opened people's minds up to truly hearing things that they were ignoring beforehand. So we can
Hmm.
still be current with what's
Yeah.
going on in the world. We can still participate in being the solution,
Absolutely. Yeah.
but do it in a way that's not costing you to stress out.
Yeah. 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 Find your favorite podcasts. I love
Mm.
that. And I do. I'm a big watcher of, yeah, Colbert. And I mean,
Hmm.
we get our news that way,
Yes.
and, also, I'll see little headlines during the
Mm.
day. And if it
Mm.
interests me and if it's from someone I trust to
Yes.
get news from, I'll click on it for further information.
Right.
I will not sit in front of any hour news program.
Well, I
I
mean,
can't, that would
Fox
be
News is
torture.
entirely sensational.
Yeah.
What I say is they take a pimple and make it into a volcanic eruption because that's what they're paid to do. And,
Yeah.
why are they paid to do that? Because, they press the fear trigger in people.
Yeah,
When you
they do.
sensationalize something, you're making people, what? I'm afraid. And when they're afraid, out come the pitchforks,
Yeah.
and that is something that we as human beings have to go, but hang on, is this real? Is this
Mhm.
fact? Am I in any empowerment to do something about it before
Right.
we, drink that Kool-Aid? And I think an awful lot of stress that we impose upon ourselves is imposed upon ourselves by watching the wrong things that sensationalize, that
Yeah.
trigger the fear button.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's so much of it. There's
Oh
so
God.
much of it. So
I mean,
again, if you are feeling that fear, like really checking in with yourself, is this healthy for me to be doing this? Because
yeah,
they do that to drag you in, to
yeah,
like hook you. That is what the advertisers pay them to do,
yes,
so really, yeah, just being aware. Again, we are responsible for what we take in every day. That's not just the food,
no.
and beverages we drink. That is the energy that we're around and
Mm,
what we're
mm,
consuming on media. And now, especially more than ever, it's so important because, as you mentioned with AI, I think AI is great for some things, but I
yes.
think that as it advances even more, we're going to be really tested to know what is real and what is not. And it's never been more important to be tapped into our own intuition.
You've just said the magic word. We've more and more we have to touch into our intuition. I think the reason AI is here is to take over kind of the mundane things, and
Hmm.
also, because it's, millions of facts going into it of deducement, it's there to aid us. But I think it's there to help us raise our own consciousness where we actually have the time, because AI is taking over this job and that job, to actually deduce, is this real or is it not? How do I feel
Yeah.
in my heart and soul about this? What does
Hmm.
my gut tell me? Because so many people are living the outside life with no connection to the heart and soul spirit inside, or listening to their body or even their mind going, does this feel right? They're just buying hook, line, and sinker blindly. I
Yeah.
think it's going to force us to go in and trust your own intuition. Does this feel
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And you only do that by getting present and by practicing getting
Yes.
present and
Yes.
really listening to yourself and knowing what is you
Yeah.
and what's the other voices that are just trying to tell you what
Mm-hmm.
something is.
Mm-hmm. I call fear the common sense fear. Don't walk in front of a bus, don't put your hand in a fire. Those are common sense fears. We know we're going to get hurt. Don't walk
Yeah.
down a dark alley in 3 o'clock in the morning, right? You're asking for trouble. Um, if we take the common sense fear with us and we open those doors of unknown, and don't open the doors of unknown with fear, but on trepidation, but with excitement and exploration. And the
Yeah.
common sense fear is going with us, will protect us along the way, but our minds, our hearts, our souls open up to the exploration, because they think we have, as a human race, stagnated, and we are meant to evolve to a much higher plane,
Mhm.
and much higher intuitive intelligence, and that we've been holding ourselves back by being sheeple rather than being exploratory.
Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah. And we have to be exploratory by going in and
Yeah,
connecting. There really is no other way. We can't go outside us and trust someone else. We
no.
really all have that ability to connect within, and that does connect us with everyone, but in a much different way. It
Mm,
makes us more empathic. It makes us more connected, and I think from that space, we really do find that love for other people too. I mean, like
yeah.
you were saying with that woman that you had on, with different views, like
Hmm.
you can't make someone bad person
No.
because they believe something different than you.
Right.
It's just they've had different information. They've grown up
Mm,
differently. They've had, something
Or they're
led
they're
them
in
to
a
that.
they're in a repeat pattern of
Yeah,
something. I've always done it this way.
yeah,
Well, but that doesn't mean you should continue to do it this way,
right,
especially if that way isn't proving to be fruitful, or
right.
truthful, And I
Hmm.
think that's again coming back to it, things like doing this in the shower or taking a breath, giving yourself time, is that calming down and going into the center and then looking at it. Okay, someone's just given me this information. What do I feel about it? And now my past patterning will say, right, well, they're wrong because that would never happen, this and that. But this person has said it with conviction.
Hmm.
And I've come into a center point. Instead of reacting to it, I'm now inquiring as to whether
Yeah,
this is fact. And you can't do it from the reactionary point of view. You have to do it from the inside,
do.
stable core point of view, right?
Yeah, that is the way. You have to be in like that heart coherence,
Mm,
really in that space of absolute presence.
yes.
Absolute, there is nothing else going on. You are really present to, yeah, how that information feels in your body. How does it feel in your heart? How does it feel in your stomach? In your
Mm,
solar plexus? Like,
mm.
is that truth? We do know if we take the time to check in, but I'd say most people do not do that.
No, don't take the time to check in because we're
Yeah.
living this expectation life, societal expectation, religious expectation, political
Yeah.
expectation, cultural expectation of what we should be. And we've denied ourselves of who we really are, right? And the more and more you practice these things, 15 minutes in the shower, five
Hmm.
minutes through the day, taking a breath and coming center, the more and more you actually discover your own beautiful essence
Yeah.
of who you really are and what your gift really is and how, whom you're meant to share it with.
And it's so beautiful, like
Mm,
stuff will come up along the way. I will tell people healing's not pretty. You
no,
know, stuff will come up. You'll be triggered for
yes,
sure, but it's to heal it,
yes,
and so you're filling that space that might have been, like I look at it almost like ugly and black with like
mm,
light.
yeah,
You're opening up those energetic pathways. You're opening up your connection with yourself and your soul. And I do feel like when you're totally aligned, you're not going to be getting disease.
yeah.
I was sick for 7 years. And after I healed myself, I didn't get sick, even a cold, for years,
Hmm.
because I was so aligned, it
Hmm.
was like the opposite. But yeah, we can all do this. It's not like rocket science. It's
No,
really like, it's very simple, honestly, but it does take consistency, and it does take
mm.
that love for yourself because when things do get uncomfortable, it can be tempting to throw the blanket over your head again,
La 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 again, yeah. And I look at it that way, because obviously the more we move away from our traumas, when those trauma images come back up, that is not meaning you're going back into that.
Right.
What it is showing you how far you've really come,
Yeah.
right? And,
Yeah.
maybe you just need at the present moment a hug, a self hug,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
moment to love yourself and to look where you were 5, 10, 20 years ago. Look where you are today. You did that.
Yeah. That gratitude for self is so important too.
Yeah.
I mean, we're so used to beating ourselves up, but do
Hmm.
we take that time to give ourselves credit for how far we've made it? We're on to the next thing. Oh, but I want to do this next, and I haven't done that yet. But I mean, busy moms won't give themselves credit for like everything they do in a day. Oh, I made my kid lunch, I made them dinner, I gave them a bath. It's just expected. We
Yes.
expect it of ourselves. And if one little thing goes wrong, we're quick to insult ourselves.
Oh, are we? Yes. Our own persecutor. Yeah. Judge and jury. Yes. But why? Because we're trying to live up to an expectation, right? Well,
Right.
society's deemed you've got to do this. And if I don't do it that way, I have failed. Balderdash, right? If it comes from the heart and you're truly engaged with yourself and your children and your family, you may do it a completely different way. But what is the result here? People are happy and productive,
Yeah.
right? If they're happy, they're well, they're productive and progressive in their own life, then it's working.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have to
Yeah.
change the system. The system is not working. And the way we change the system is changing the system in our own lives
Absolutely. Yeah, we
first.
all need to. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I do, I am hoping that this is what is coming, with
Mhm.
AI, with all of
Mhm.
these things. I mean, we do need to just make it a daily habit. It
Yeah.
has to be. It can't be something we do once a week, oh,
No.
I take a walk once a week, so I kind of tap in then. It has to be daily check-ins, a few times a day at least, to really get yourself in the habit of it instead of
Mhm.
the numbing out, which is so easy
Very
now.
easy, yes. And as you said, and I'm a person who doesn't shower every day, and some people maybe are unable to do that. Okay, so what other practice can you do in the day? And so, all right, you may only
Yeah.
get out for that walk once a week and you have that
Yeah.
high, but what can you do on Thursday, Friday, Wednesday,
Yeah.
And I think it make it like, well, Wednesday I do this, Thursday I do this, but it's
Yeah.
like something that you do that you know that you can't live without because you
Yeah.
want to get to that stage where you go, I cannot function in a day without doing this for me.
Yeah. That joy, that meditate, that peace, like what is it,
Mm,
that meditative state, like what does it bring you? And
yeah,
I will tell clients too, like it's so important to do the things that bring you joy and passion because
yeah,
in those moments, that is when you connect too.
yeah.
If you're dancing, you can connect to that if
Mm,
that's what you love. I know writing for me, I'm in another place,
hmm
like it
hmm
does connect me. So yeah, really understanding what brings you joy and giving yourself permission to do that.
yes. And I think it's if we take a pie and we quarter it all out, etc. Uh, this is for this is for that, this is for this is for me, this is for this is for
Yeah.
that, this is that, this is for me, because it's back to the old oxygenate yourself. Yeah, as you said, I'm also one of these people that find like, oh, I'm suddenly not breathing, right? And it's very easy to do until you go, ah! And then you realize you're not breathing. But if we don't have breath, not
Yeah.
just in our lungs, but the oxygen in our mind, that heart and soul wisdom and connection that comes through us, if we're not open to that and allowing it to come through us, we're going to make wrong choices. And
Yeah.
so it is essential that we find that something. If we're presented with a problem and you don't know what to do not try to do anything in that moment, unless it's life saving, then you've got to go guttural and go with your instincts. But take a moment and go, I just need to think about this. Don't think about it. Go and do something
Mm.
completely opposite, because I promise you the
Exactly.
idea will come to you.
I've learned that one the hard way a
Yep.
couple of times.
Hmm.
You're in that frantic space and you're like, oh, I gotta do something. I gotta do
Yeah.
something. And it is never the right thing.
No.
You
No.
have to do things from that moment of flow
Yeah.
and peace and your intuition telling you to do something, not the nervous system like
Yes.
frantically telling you or fear telling you that you need to act.
Hmm. No, absolutely. There's no clarity in that moment
Yeah.
because everything about you is crunched down in
Yeah.
anxiety. We need open up
Yeah.
in order for the flow, because everything about us, our blood, our oxygen, our water in our body, our energy has to be in flow. And if it's not in flow, it's not in the know.
Right. Yeah.
So showering and using these exercises, taking some of these exercises that you can do on dry land, so to speak, at
Yes,
any time,
absolutely.
like, which one can you incorporate in your day? Okay, I'm just going to take 5 minutes and do this.
Yeah.
Or I'm just going to take 10 minutes and do that. Okay. Or even just washing the dishes, doing the certain things you can do in the
Yeah.
water while washing the dishes.
Yeah.
We can always adapt. If we can't do it in the
Absolutely.
shower,
Yeah.
where else can you do it?
Hmm. Yeah, and most of these exercises can be done in like 2 minutes.
Hmm.
They're not long exercises.
Hmm.
It's really about just finding that time for yourself. So how
Hmm.
many times during a day can you set your phone alarm for
Yeah.
to set off to take that time for yourself? Just check in instead of just forging forward over and over and doing I call myself a recovering perfectionist. Like I
Mhm.
know that feeling. I know that we talked before about those
Yeah.
lists. I know about those lists and stressing out about them. But now if I have to move something to the next day or it doesn't get done, I can be okay with it. I don't freak out like I used to freak out about it, like really letting it go. We're the
Yeah.
only ones that are judging ourselves so
Uh-huh.
harshly.
And if other people want to judge us, like this particular book, Our Forgotten Children, took 5 years to come to fruition from the idea until it was like, now it's time, because I felt things were
Mhm.
aligned. And I had found the right people, and I found the right people by chance, haha, by cosmic design.
Yeah.
And that was the thing, that your next book is Our Forgotten Seniors. And I had intended to have all my authors in by now, people writing, and then, I
Mhm.
never, just due to circumstance, which unfortunately I adore my grandchildren. I have them 2 days a week, but they're little petri dishes, and I have had nothing but sickness from them since I've been here. So I've been dealing with that, and it was like, okay, I know that this book will be produced.
Mhm.
Um, and it will be produced when, I've got the people I want to reach out to.
Yeah.
And I know from my own self, when the green light is there, everything will
Mhm.
align and I'll get it done. Right. But if the green light is not there, as much as I try and push, I'm still at a red light. And
Exactly.
it's paying attention to when
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with the idea, but
Right.
you've got to wait for the universe to synchronize things for everything to be right for the green light to go on. And that
Because
gets
we
something out of our
know,
hands.
yeah, because we know when the green light's on, like it's pedal to the metal, like
Oh,
it'll just like
tsunami. Yeah.
so quickly. And that's such a beautiful feeling to
In,
be like caught up in that and
yeah.
in that flow. Yeah, it's the total opposite feeling than pushing.
Yes. Yeah, because when you push, there's somebody pulling, and you're just being torn apart. And it's again, that goes back to this. Well, haven't you done it yet? And no, wrong time, right?
Yeah,
I know it's on its way. Or maybe you don't need to give any explanation. It will come when it's ready.
yeah.
People say to me, how many people listen to my podcast? I go, all those that are ready to hear.
I love that. I love that.
I have no control once
Hmm.
this podcast goes out. Well, how people hear it, what they learn from it, what they apply from it,
Hmm.
because my motto is listen, learn, and apply.
Hmm.
But if there's one thing we've said today that has had an impact to pivot somebody in the right direction, hallelujah. Because it's not
Yeah.
about, oh, 50,000 followers. Well, that would be all very nice, but
Hmm.
maybe 10 of those people will listen all the way through and get something out of it. Again, it's our participation. If we
Right.
want to heal, we want to change directions, we want to de-stress our lives, we've got to become more engaged in the solutions that can help us find our path.
Yeah. And it's a ripple effect.
It is.
When we work on ourselves, it affects our family, it affects our
Yeah.
loved ones, and that goes out further.
Yes, absolutely. You've written a book, it's out there. You can promote it as much as you like, but how people read it, when they read it, and what they
Yeah.
do with it is out of your hands, right?
Yeah.
It's and that's um, we in order to have control, we have to let go of control.
That's been a hard lesson for me
Yeah.
too. But yeah, I get it. Finally. Gotten enough universe smackdown.
Yes. Don't argue with the universe. I always say the cosmic, you nudge, nudge, wink, wink, and you're not paying attention to the cosmic 2x4, right? And because we're stubborn humans, we often get the 2x4, instead of the nudge, wink, wink. But you were guided to write this book as you were with the other one. It's a simple approach
Yeah.
that, start off by doing it in the shower
Yeah.
and then recognize, I felt like this in the shower when I did that. How about I do this right now where I am?
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
incorporating what worked in the shower. Maybe, you can go put your hands when you wash your hands after the bathroom or when you're doing the dishes or
Yeah.
doing something else, or just putting your hands underwater and letting it feel like it's washing the anxiety away.
Yeah.
But be engaged with it. And these are tools that are going to help people to be engaged with themselves, recalibrate, settle down, and go back to the core of you. I know that if I go against my core, right? If my head says you've got to do that because expectation is on me, and my core
Hmm.
says no, I guarantee you it's not going to work. When my core says yes, even though I have no idea how I'm going to do it or what I'm going to
Hmm.
do, I just get on and do it, it will manifest into something great.
Yeah.
And this, we've got to get back to the core though, don't we?
Yeah, we have to be able to shut out everything, shut off the TV, the computers, the phone, like shut that stuff off for a little while and just
Mm.
go inward. It is
Yes,
so important. I mean, and even I do include nature too in that.
yes,
That
yes,
is
yes.
also a beautiful time to just take for yourself. And maybe your house is loud all the time. Someone has the TV on. Go outside,
Mm.
take a few breaths. There's always an ability to find that time.
I have an office here where I have a beautiful monkey puzzle tree. I have my
Oh,
I have my hummingbird feeder. I
oh,
get
that's
deer in my garden. I've
nice.
got trees all around me, right? And a
That's so
river,
nice.
yet I'm 5 minutes from everything. Right. So
That's
I'm very, very blessed where I am.
beautiful.
And that's the thing is like put the aesthetics in, if you're in your office, put
Yeah,
the aesthetics around you that you can look at, even if you're in a
yeah,
cubicle. Is there a picture
yeah,
you can focus in on that you,
yep.
soak it in, right? We need something that sometimes distracts us from where we are and takes us home to where we need to be.
Hmm. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I use like anchoring moments,
Mm,
to really, maybe there's a hands on heart,
mm,
and take some breaths. What is it for you that really can bring you that sense of peace? And again, there can't be too many tools. Our toolbox can be overflowing. Like
mm.
just keep gaining them, because some moments we become almost like stubborn little toddlers.
Yeah.
You're like, no, I don't want to use that tool. I don't feel like using that tool right now. So why not have, the more the merrier,
Yeah,
for you to tap into and be able like, you know what, I don't feel like Ho'oponopono is one of my favorites. I don't feel like saying that right now, but I can go to gratitude.
yeah.
I can take a breath. I can do this right now. So yeah, I encourage people to just dive in, get as many tools as they can
Mm,
so they can support themselves.
right. Well, the thing about the gratitude one is this. I'm grateful that I recognize I'm stressed out right now.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful I know what tools that will help me.
Yeah,
There is absolutely anything that you can find to be gratitude out. And when you hook onto that gratitude, it changes your attitude.
it sure does. It sure does. Gratitude did, like I said, it helped me heal my physical body, like being
Mm,
grateful. Because when you're sick, you tend to focus on the
yeah.
pain
Mm,
and, all the things that are wrong. So it's like you beat yourself up more,
mm-hmm.
like that's not going to put healthy cells. Like, so to be able to really dive into that gratitude for yourself. I always encourage gratitude for our bodies too. We
Mm,
encourage our bodies to expect our bodies to just run effortlessly. Oh, I ate well. I
yeah.
drank a lot of water. It should be okay, but really, why not thank your body for just allowing you to get up today?
Yes. I wake up every morning. Thank you. I'm awake. I've got another day before me. Right.
Yeah,
And that's the thing is that it's such a simple thing, but I think it sets your mind in the right direction.
sure does. It sure does. Because I know when I was sick, I was getting up and being like, oh, like,
Yeah.
oh, this day, and how are you talking to yourself when you're first waking up in the morning is so important because your subconscious is still kind of tuned in there.
Yeah.
So, what messages are you sending yourself? I do always say, like, the morning and at night are such important times because our subconscious is
Mm,
listening even
mm,
stronger. And we can really set the tone for, at night we're going to sleep saying what a horrible day it was, we're probably gonna might have a nightmare, might not
yeah.
wake up feeling so good.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, we have the power to control those.
Mhm. And I think even if you do have an illness that, is either incurable or, something has happened that you're having
Yeah,
to live with or manage, it's learning to excuse me, hug yourself,
yeah,
go,
compassion.
thank you, body. I know that was a tough day, but you got
Yeah,
through it. Look how you got through it. Thank you for being there for me. Or, all right, buddy, I hear you. Today you need some love.
yeah,
You need some rest and some care. instead of saying, I'm going to push through and how dare you, body, or
Yeah.
this or that. No, your body
Yeah.
is not out to get you.
Yeah.
It is a result of X, Y, and Z. And the thing is, let's show some compassion to any ailment that we may have. I've been an asthmatic all my
Absolutely.
life.
Yeah.
I'm not going to will it gone. The damage
Hmm.
is done. But it's like, oh, I had enough breath to be with the kids today,
I
and
love
it's
that.
like,
Yeah.
and it's learning to be grateful for even what we've got, that your body is with you. Don't
Yeah.
feed the misery, right?
Right.
Or the pain.
Right.
If you have the pain, acknowledge the pain and go, okay, I hear you, pain. What do you need from me today?
Yeah.
What do
It's
you
that
need from me?
communication with your
Yes.
body is
Mm,
so important because it is trying to talk to us
yes.
from the pain, from the,
Mm,
and how are we showing up? We wouldn't show up like if our kid was in pain, we wouldn't be like yelling at them.
yeah.
So how do we show up for our body when it's in
Yeah.
pain?
Yes.
Being compassionate,
Mhm.
asking it, yeah, what it needs. How
And
can I
never
help
and never
you?
apologizing for the fact that you're sick because,
Yeah.
I mean, I was in a marriage, but when I got sick, it was a burden on him. He didn't do anything. It's just he
Mhm.
didn't like me being sick. And so you felt
Mhm.
guilty for being sick. And that made you
Mm.
sicker. Right?
Yeah,
And it's like,
absolutely. It would do
if
that.
you have something you're dealing with and mind over matter and manifesting as much as you can help considerably, but
Hmm.
you have what you have. um
Hmm.
and like people who are amputees, they can't suddenly grow a leg from manifesting it,
Hmm.
but what they can do is learn to adjust.
Yeah.
I've had this wonderful young girl, Keshi, who was a burn victim from a plane crash, and I interviewed her and she blew me away. 65% of her body completely burnt, and
Wow.
music was her salvation. And then one day I'm watching America's Got Talent and she's on there, and initially,
Mm.
when she comes on, people can see, she's burn victim. You
Hmm.
can see it. And then she sang, and everybody felt her heart and her soul.
Mm.
And so I've interviewed her 3 times, and every single time she's left me with something that is so profound. And as
Mm.
I, in one other time, I interviewed her with another gentleman, a veteran who Hummy blew up, and so he's also a burn victim. And people listened to that show and said I cried, not because I felt sorry for them, because I
Hmm.
was so utterly illuminated by them.
Yeah.
And they will openly admit bad days.
Of
They'll
course.
openly admit this was a struggle today, or this was
Hmm.
hard, or this was painful.
Hmm.
And they allow themselves to go through that to look forward to the better days. And I think it's give ourselves a break, right? We don't have to be on
Yeah.
all the time.
No, and life isn't, we're talking about this, but it's not about always wearing a smile and,
Yes.
faking happiness all the time. Life happens. There are going to
Yes.
be things that trigger us. There are going to
Yeah.
be things that make us sad or, but recognizing those emotions and how are we showing up for ourselves when we experience those emotions? There are some times I'm like, I'm just annoyed and I'm going to allow myself to feel a
Yes.
little lot,
Yeah.
but I know I'm going to get over it. I'm not going to
Right.
stay like this forever. And what is bringing up that annoyance and
Mm.
what can I do about it, to comfort myself? So, yeah, just having that conversation with yourself instead of numbing out with something,
Or apologizing or feeling guilty,
yeah, blame, shame, guilt does
oh,
not help anything.
no. And I say that, our emotions are an indication of what's going on. Address it, spend the
Yeah.
emotion, but don't become emotional about the emotion.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of people get so caught up in the emotion that they
Yeah.
don't realize that emotion is an indication.
Yeah.
Go through the emotion, deal with whatever is triggered it, and let it go. It isn't for you
Hmm.
to become emotional about it, become a
Right.
tornado of emotion now, because that kind of then becomes almost victimization.
Yeah.
And some people do like to stay the victim because they want people to feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
Instead of, they like the attention as opposed to, yes, I was victimized, but I choose not to be the victim. I choose to
Right.
empower myself. What am I going to do about it?
Yeah. Because you're still letting that other person win or that
Yeah.
other situation win if
Yes.
you continue to be the victim.
And we have the power within us, don't we?
We sure do.
Yeah.
We sure do.
And it can start in the shower.
Can start in the shower.
A simple thing. I'm washing my hair and my body, and while I'm at it, I'm doing these things that I come out of the shower feeling cleansed inside and out. Right? That's the point.
Yes.
And that is the point, is that what can you do that makes you feel reset, centered, and ready to receive the day in a positive attitude?
Yeah. Yeah. And there are so many things you could do in a couple of moments. And yeah, I want people to just, yeah, grab hold of that. Like really, it doesn't take forever. So many people have this idea of mindfulness and meditation that I don't have time for that. But just knowing this is time you already have in the shower, you'll
Yes.
get the tools that you can use them other places
Yeah.
too.
I had a monk on, Michel Pascal. He would take people into Times Square and said, now I want you to meditate.
Whoa.
And it's like meditation is being able to find the calm amongst the
Wow. Yeah.
chaos. It's
Hmm.
not putting yourself in a quiet place and meditating, then going out into the chaos and not knowing what to do with it.
Right.
How do you find the calmness amongst the chaos?
Hmm.
All right.
Wow. Times Square.
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah.
spot for it.
Exactly. And that's the point, isn't it? Even if you're in a meeting with people and
Yeah.
it's stressing you out, what can you do? I mean, you can even, tap this side, you can do other things.
Hmm.
That we take a breath, close your eyes for a moment. And if somebody says something, yeah, I'm just taking a moment to
Hmm.
center myself before I respond.
Yeah.
Right. And that in that action of what you're doing can help other people go, okay, let's all take a breath.
Yeah.
Right. So it's don't be afraid to do it anytime, anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. The more times you do it, the better.
Yeah. I don't suggest you strip off and put a shower head on in the middle of a meeting. Now, there's times for that. But what techniques can you take from that you can apply
Yeah.
anywhere, anytime?
Yes.
We are the problem in the world, but we're also the solution. It's all down to a
There
choice of what we
are.
choose to be, right? And our mental health starts with us being aware of what is causing our angst, our upset, our depression, and then what tools can I use to empower myself to come back to self, right? And when we calm the heart, the soul, and the spirit, the mind is calm. When we calm the mind, the heart, soul, and spirit has a voice. So it's
Hmm.
all integrated. And so it's learning those techniques that are going to help us come back home to
Yeah.
self.
I love that. It is home to self.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah, and that's a beautiful place to be. So I love the cover of the book.
Oh,
Somebody,
thank
beautiful woman showering,
you.
which you can even look at the picture and just imagine the water on you. I mean, there's so many things you can do
Yeah.
if you can't do it in the meantime. But will you tell people how to get hold of you? What else you may be offering? Where people can get the book and everything?
Yeah, they can go to Amazon. It's available on Kindle and paperback and also Audible there. And my website is jennygarufi.com.
Can you
And
spell
I
that, please, love?
JENNYGARUFI.com. And I offer a free 5-day class there, as well as Akashic readings. I still do Akashic readings. I've been
Hmm.
doing those for 20 years. I love doing those to help people too. And yeah, I just love to connect with people and give people tools. So often there's like articles there too to just help people along their path.
And on Facebook, you're Reawaken You, Instagram, Reawaken
Yeah.
You, LinkedIn under your old name, Jenny Mannion. Haven't changed.
Yeah, on the page it says Garufi, but I have like 16,000 connections there, so I'm
Yeah,
not really
exactly.
willing to change that
Exactly.
bridge.
You've got a YouTube channel and TikTok, Jenny
Yeah.
Garufi, and you're on Fred's Reawaken You, and X again, Jenny Mannion. And, the people can reach out to you in any which way. And, the whole thing is reach out, get the book. I'm saying to people right now, we are so close to Christmas.
Yeah.
You know somebody, including yourself, that
Yes.
need some techniques to de-stress their lives. These type of things are the gift that keep on giving, because it's a book that they can read, then they can apply, and then of course it ripple out to other people, but then they can, because it had such an impact on them, gift a book to someone else because they know it works. And that's the
Yes.
thing, is that at Christmas we go and buy senseless things for people.
Yeah.
And it's like, why not give something that really
Mhm.
has a long lasting effect that is something that can help their lives in any which direction. So think of it as a great Christmas gift for people. And if they go, well, I don't need this, you know what? Just try it.
Just
Just give it a, just
try
read
it.
it, try a few of them, see how it feels. Because it's always the people that protest too much that need it most.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Yeah.
it might be a good family book. If you've got
Yeah.
teenagers, it's under the tree, Santa Claus bought it. Oh, I guess we should all try this. Let me know how you feel after the shower, right? And so there's so many ways that we could do it. But it's a gift to yourself, but it also could be a gift to others as well. So
Thank you, Sarah. I do. The response has been really wonderful of people that have said it's just changed, the way they think about things. It's brought them peace in times that they would not have had peace during the day. They'll call up and exercise. So yeah, that warms my heart.
And you can still get your Short Path to Change book.
Yes, yes, you can.
So
That's
that will be
available
under
on
your author
Amazon.
Amazon as well, right?
Yes.
Excellent, because it's yes, we need that path to change. Yeah, what you've done, you're doing the Sharon, that kind of form of realigning yourself. Now you want to change, or how do you get there? So,
Yeah.
both books are there that can help you. One leads the other. And you don't try doing the change without first knowing your center and the essence of yourself, because you'll need those techniques to bring forth into your change, right? So
Yes.
excellent. Good having you back. Do not leave it so long. It's been way too long. So
I know. Thank you so much for having me back, Sarah. It's
my
so
pleasure.
awesome to talk with you.
I'm with you too, Han. And it's like we shower, it's obvious. And then things that you do there, you can do anywhere. As I said,
Yes.
encourage the husband to wash the dishes by putting his hand in water and saying his meditation. Right? I mean, the teenagers, wash the dishes, put your hand and do that meditation while you're doing that. And it's like there are many ways we can apply, right? Listen, learn, and apply. So thank you so much, Jenny, and to everyone
Thank
out
you,
there.
Sarah.
Um, there's always a solution, and Jenny is giving you one. And it's so simple. You can do it in the shower, do washing dishes, do it anywhere. We all need these techniques that can help us recenter ourselves, where we can take that deep breath, where we can see the clarity and not the chaos. So get this book for yourself, get it for others, and maybe get both books. Because you're going to do that process of centering yourself. Now you're ready for the change. And how do you do that? So until next time, folks, remember, there is always a solution. You've just got to listen, learn, or read and apply. Bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Just go to the podcast tag at the top there and you will see all the many genres and all 3,000 shows ready for your listening. We are here to serve you, to help you on your journey of life, and we know that through inspiration, it begets invitation. We are supported by you, the listeners, and those that we interview. Anything that you can spare us in donation would be greatly accepted, and we do hope that you enjoy the next show.